What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I haven't been live in a while, so might be a little bit rusty, but here we go. We're back live, and it is now almost 5 p.m. here on the East Coast in the USA, and Bitcoin is nice and bullish here. We just had the Fed close out the meeting, 25 basis point hike, and there we go. The market got what it expected. People expected a 25 basis point hike, and there it is. So now the market is probably feeling pretty comfortable that things are moving along as expected. What is up, guys? Welcome back. Harley K's in the chat. What's up? So I'm going to post this on Twitter real quick before we get started. So I was actually planning on doing a video today, and I was actually in the process of editing the video, and the market just started moving way faster than I could even keep up with. By the time my video was out, it was going to be outdated. It was going to be an outdated video just like that. So I said, you know what? We'll do it live. So here we are. Let me post this on Twitter. Guys, let me know in the chat if it's all working well. I haven't been live in a while, so let me know if all the sound is good, the image is good. Can't really check it at the moment. Let me know. Got a lot of familiar faces back in the chat. Yeah, guys, I think the bears are about to have heart attacks. So I think the hospitals are about to fill up with a bunch of bears under cardiac arrest, to be honest, because it's starting to seem like they're not going to get what they want. Just talk to the mic. I guess we're too quiet here? Yeah, what's up, guys? Everyone's rolling in the chat. We got 100 people in already. Smash the like button, guys. It definitely helps out the channel, helps this stream get discovered if you smash the like and subscribe. So right now for Bitcoin, we are pretty close to the golden cross, guys. The golden cross. It's very close. And if you look at the stock market, if you look at the S&P, look at that. Very close to the golden cross. I think we're like a day away, 2 days away. What does it look like, guys? Check it out. Look at it for yourself. How close are we? Are we already crossing? No, not quite, but we're close. This is the S&P 500, and we are just about to get the golden cross. Now, it's interesting to see the tremendous correlation between the two. You have the S&P 500 in this downtrend here, breaking the downtrend. And if you go to Bitcoin on the weekly, and then you look at the S&P, they're both now above their macro downtrend lines. Try to line it up here. You guys can see that. Both above, both about to get their golden cross, right? So they're both in the same position now, nearing the golden cross, above the macro downtrend line. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty clear to me that we're getting a macro bullish shift, and this is what we've been talking about on the channel, that we're above the macro downtrend line. And actually, let me pull up this tweet that I made, because this kind of explains what I'm trying to say. And that's the tweet that I made just yesterday, 21 hours ago. This tweet right here, where it's like this. Every time we break the macro downtrend line, the bears scream fake out, right? Every single time. 2015, you can see Bitcoin breaks the macro downtrend line, and the bears scream fake out, and then we just have a new bullish era. 2019, break the macro downtrend line, the bears scream fake out. Though, of course, you can say, it was because of COVID. We retested the breakout zone. We actually retested the breakout zone both times, here and here, technically. So yes, there's usually a retest. That's something that we can discuss, because that is a possibility. Retesting the lows at some point, of course, it's possible. You can never say never. But I'll explain exactly how and why, or why not, we would retest the lows before continuing up. We're going to talk about that in a second. And now, guys, just once again, we're breaking the macro downtrend line, and the bears are saying it's a fake out. The bears are crying wolf again. Now, that's not to say we can't retest lower prices, we can't retest the low region before going up and out. Of course, it's all possible. But, it's just the same exact setup as always. It's the same macro trend breakout. It's a spitting image of every other cycle. The stock market's also breaking out. A lot of people always forget to look at the stock market, guys. Stock market's doing it as well. And that's what's driving this move. Someone in the chat saying, wait, Kevin is live? Yeah, guys. So I was basically about to, I was editing a video today, and then the market just started moving. Bitcoin just started moving so fast up here after the meeting that I was like, you know what? By the time this video is out, it's probably going to be outdated. Maybe we're at new highs by then. You know, who knows? So I said, we'll just do it live. So let's see who's in the chat. What's up, guys? Anthony M is in the chat. What's up? Can you do TA Fly? I don't know what that is. David Schneebel, he's alive. He's alive. Yeah, guys, I've been focusing a lot on the videos recently, and now I'm doing it live. So big news of the day is obviously that the Fed has gone for a 25 basis point hike, and it seems like they're going to continue to do quarter point raises. So they're warning that there is more rate hikes to come, but people are now talking about that in May, there may be a pause. And so what we've been saying for a few weeks on my channel is that it is likely that the markets will probably run up until the pause happens. And then, you know, if or when the Fed pivots, that's usually when the market goes down. And that is the exact opposite of what everybody thinks. The news media has trained everyone to believe that a Fed pivot equals up. And so everyone was just sitting there waiting for the Fed to pivot, which never came. And now the markets are running up and they don't even know what to think, right? Because they've been told the wrong thing. The news is not going to lead you in the right direction. The news never leads you in the right direction. So this is usually how it goes, guys. Now, usually there's a crisis of some kind, economic crisis associated with a Fed pivot. So we'll see what happens at that point. But like we've been saying on my channel, our theory, the theory that we've come up with on this channel is that the markets are going to run up into the pause in May, June, July. The market's going to settle up at a much higher level. And then when the Fed pivots, that's when the markets will come down, most likely. And it'll be doing the exact opposite of what people expect. Jay says, live, you're more beautiful. Thank you very much. Litecoin halving in 6 months. Yes, guys, the Litecoin halving has been driving Litecoin's price up. Seen a lot of talk about Litecoin. Litecoin is kind of coming back a little bit. People are getting excited about Litecoin again. Recon says, keep up the good work. Guys, I appreciate everyone in the chat. I know I haven't been live in a while, and going live has been like the most requested thing on this channel for the most part, because we used to do live streams like all the time. And, you know, I was kind of focusing on the videos for a while. Maybe I'll do more live streams. I really like to go live when things are interesting. So that's usually what I wait for. And so Bitcoin now is on this second leg up. What were we about to talk about? Oh, yeah, I was talking about how both Bitcoin and the S&P are breaking out their macro down trend lines. And at this point, I think that we're at the point in the trend where the market's not going to have any mercy on people that miss the boat. That's just what I think. There's a lot of people on the sidelines that did not expect this pump. They didn't trust this pump. And I don't think the market is going to be nice enough to dump back down and let everyone just hop in on the boat before we go up. I don't think so. I think the market is going to be very unforgiving to those that missed the boat. Now, that might be harsh for those that did to hear that, but that's usually just how this goes. If we go back in time and you look at, let's go back for over here. Now, there are times when Bitcoin does retrace back to the breakout zone. Now, for instance, in 2019, the market was unforgiving. If you didn't buy the bottom, make this bigger. In 2019, right here, if you didn't buy the bottom, the market did not care. It just ran up. Did not care who missed it. It just went up, guys. And back in 2015, it was a little bit different. Look at this. We broke the macro down trend line, and then we dumped back down. So if you bought the breakout, the market was forgiving. It said, okay, if you missed it, here you go. Here's your chance. And then we had the most epic bull market ever. But why? Why did that happen? Why did Bitcoin come back to the low to test it? Once again, everyone forgets. They always forget about the stock market. Bring up the S&P. Oh, the S&P dumped. Would you look at that? So that's why. This is the S&P chart overlaid on Bitcoin. Why was the market forgiving to those who missed the bottom here? It was the S&P had a massive dump. It wasn't about Bitcoin. It had nothing to do with Bitcoin. This is what everyone always forgets. They always forget to look at the stock market. The only reason it backtested was because the stock market dumped. So there you go. Okay, now we go to the future. Let's go to 2019. After the macro trend breakout, why didn't we backtest it again? Here, let me just remove this so you can see it. 2018 downtrend, market breaks out, was unforgiving to those who missed the boat. Why didn't we come back there? Bring up the stock market because the stock market was just going up. Right? Over here we had a little dip, but all that breakout, we did not come back to test it because it was all about the stock market. This is what Bitcoin people always forget. And so now let's look at Bitcoin, bring up the stock market. Okay. That's really what it's all about here. Is the market going to be forgiving to those who missed the boat or unforgiving? And Bitcoin's probably going to run up to like 28,000, 30,000, I think, on this run, most likely. And whether Bitcoin comes back to test down or not has everything to do with the stock market, guys. Everything to do with the stock market. So that's the main thing. Now we're about to get the golden cross for the S&P. Looking pretty good. Let's also do something else here. What I was going to do. Oh yeah. There was a really interesting way that we set a target for the S&P. So one thing I want to point out. So again, everything has to do with the stock market. How high Bitcoin goes in this run has everything to do with the stock market. I can't say that enough. Just so you guys don't forget. Now, if we look at this area here where the RSI was coming down for the S&P on the daily, when we broke out of this right here, see that? Let's put a vertical line on that area. So right here, back in March of 2022, we had an RSI downtrend for the S&P on the daily. We're going to get back to Bitcoin in just a second. I just want to show you this. RSI downtrend, we break out. How high does the S&P go from that breakout? About 10.5%. We'll just say 10%, plus 10% from that breakout. Now, these are all pretty similar, right? Hold on, let's make that green. Okay. So that run was plus 10% on the RSI breakout. Next one. Like this. From here to that RSI breakout right there, same thing. Let's mark up the breakout zone. Let's put a vertical line on it. How do we go from there? About 13%. Okay. So that breakout led us up 13%. So we're looking at the RSI breakouts on the S&P 500 to determine how high the run can go. I guess we could also do this one. Could you look at it this way? I guess you could. I don't even think I've measured this one yet. Go to a vertical line, and we're gonna get a Bitcoin price target off of this by doing this. Hopefully, we'll see. So let's say about 12%. Look, they're all very similar percents. 10, 13, 12. Okay. So every time the S&P breaks the RSI, we have somewhere between 10 and 13%. You could say 11.5. Now, if you take this right here, we also just broke that again. We had another one, high, lower high, lower high. And when this broke out, it took place at the macro resistance. And so if we have an average, I know a lot of people that are super bearish right now are going to think this is ridiculous for me to say, but I mean, if you just go based off of each RSI breakout for the S&P, 11%, let's say 11.5% lands us at just about 4,500. So the expected target on the current RSI breakout, which would send us into overbought territory, of course, probably a macro lower high, would be somewhere around 4,500 before maybe coming back down lower or something like that. So this is it, guys. This is kind of what I'm looking for now that we have the Fed lowering rate hike velocity, or rate hike velocity. It's coming down. And this might let the market see a little bit of growth for the time being. And so let's just put up a rectangular box here. We're just doing like a deep dive into this real quick, guys. So we can see. We actually made a video about this on this channel recently. But every time it does something along these lines. And so we're in this situation once again. Now, of course, being above the macro down trend line makes things different. It might behave differently. I mean, this is really just a rough estimate. You can't, I mean, I'm not sure if it's going to be totally reliable, but something like that, maybe. Just my best guess. So we may see, back test in between, some kind of lower high form later. But this kind of goes along with what, now, don't take the drawing literally. It's just a drawing, right? But what I think is going to happen is the stock market, this is the S&P, once again, for those of you that are just joining, I think the stock market's going to run up into the pause. And once the Fed pauses, we hang out up there. And then when they pivot, we dump. And then we'll see what happens after that. Now, if you look at this, we're doing an RSI breakout measurement. Now, if you consider how high does Bitcoin go on each of these moves? Whenever the S&P made a 10 to 13% move, Bitcoin went up 30%. 30%. So if we have another one like this, that means Bitcoin's going to be going up possibly 30%. If we go based on history. And where does that put Bitcoin? Puts it just around 30,000 actually. You could say the S&P already broke out, so you can go a little bit lower. If you do, it's about almost exactly 30,000. So whenever the S&P makes a 10 to 13% move, Bitcoin's up 30%, which lands us at 30,000, and that puts us right at a pretty key zone, as most of you should know by now. Pretty key zone. Or let's just draw this out. That previous support from 2021. So I think that this run could easily land us at 30,000. And we do have the largest falling wedge in Bitcoin history, which in theory, a lot of people think this is absolutely insane, which it kind of is. But if you draw the breakout measurement, it says 50. Now, I'm not going to go that far, but that's what the textbook says. The textbook says measure the fattest part of the wedge and put it on the breakout zone. And so if you do that, it gives you 50 just for all of you Uber bulls. There you go. But I think 30,000 is very likely if the S&P makes a move like this. Now, of course, you never know. Things could get more bullish, less bullish than you expect, but we'll see. Guys, let me know in the chat. Do you guys think that let me just actually remove this for a second. Now that we have an S&P breakout of the macro down trend line, do you guys think that the market's going to be attempting further bullish moves? The trend up is going to continue? Type 1 in the chat for yes and 2 in the chat for no. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with my analysis? Click 1. Do you disagree? Click 2. Let's see where the sentiment is now. I know some of you guys are probably just joining, so you missed this whole explanation on the S&P 500's RSI breakout targets, anywhere from 10 to 13%. And the RSI just broke out, which would land us at $4,500 S&P, possibly. We'll see. We have a good amount of mixed answers. It's actually very mixed. It's actually very much in the middle. Guys, if you're just joining, smash the like button. Smash it up. Subscribe to this channel if you're new. If you haven't already, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button. We have a lot of different opinions in the chat. Of course, I mean, this has been one of the most ridiculous moments in time for market sentiment, because right when Bitcoin was at the low is when the bear sentiment hit its highest point. That's when everyone was so confident that Bitcoin was just going to keep going down and stay down, and then it reversed. Right at that moment. Yeah, a lot of people are on the edge as well. Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to mention was that Bitcoin right now, sorry, we're just moving up a little bit. We're getting closer to the resistance right now. Just looking at the screens behind me. This is the hourly chart right here. You can see we've had 4 consistent hours up. That big candle at the bottom, that was right after Jerome Powell spoke. And the market sort of dumped and trapped the bears and then ripped right back up. Now we're inside of our 4th green hourly in a row. And we're now very close to the breakout zone. But what I was going to say was, this right here is the 200-day. Let me just make sure. Yeah, 200 SMA and the 50 SMA. 200-day SMA, 50-day SMA. Golden cross. Everyone probably knows the golden cross. This is generally considered to be a macro bullish signal in markets, usually in the stock market, but it's used across every market. Now, it's not a short-term bullish signal, right? If you use the golden cross as a short-term signal, you're likely going to get wrecked, because a lot of times what happens is the markets get very bullish as the cross is getting closer and closer. People get more and more bullish. And then when it crosses, you get sort of like a blow off in bullish emotion, I guess. And the market sort of has a peak. Sometimes we actually get a short-term peak when we get the golden cross. So it's certainly not a short-term indicator. If we do get this golden cross, maybe Bitcoin's up, at 28K or something, we get the golden cross, and then we have a short-term dip, pigs get slaughtered, etc. And then we run up again later. So that's usually how that goes. We can actually go back in time in history probably and see this for ourselves. Sometimes it does work out. So for example, in 2019, we got the golden cross. It sort of missed the initial pump, which is actually exactly what's happening right now. So we had the initial pump, the golden cross comes after, and then we continued up nice and smooth, right? Happened again for COVID multiple times. Pretty wacky over there. Over here in 2015, we had the golden cross, and then we broke down, and we had death cross, and then another golden cross. So we had a golden cross, a death cross, a golden cross, and then went to the moon. But once again, we dumped because the stock market dumped. That's the S&P, guys. Remember that. Bitcoin doesn't do Bitcoin's not just moving on its own. This dip wasn't just because of Bitcoin. It was the stock market. So that's really the thing. Are we going to retest down or not? All up to the stock market. It's all up to the stock market. So golden crosses can be sometimes a bit of a fake out in the short term, but usually long term, they're a good signal. It's a good sign. Guys, we got 1,000 people watching. Appreciate it. Smash the like and subscribe if you're new. We got... Man, the comment section is so torn. Sentiment is really torn. We got a lot of salt in the comment section. People are angry at me for talking about bullish things. After Bitcoin went from 69,000 to 15,000, apparently being bullish is wrong. Usually it's not the wrong idea. And we got happy people in the chat. Sentiment is all over the place right now. Brad, what's up? I remember you from Twitter. A lot of familiar faces. Yeah, here's another thing to think about, guys, is that when has it ever been a bad idea to buy Bitcoin 1 year away from the halving? When was that ever a bad idea? That's the big question to me. That's why I've been so confused recently about all the bearish sentiment. If you just go to Bitcoin halving events, I guess I have to mark up the next one. What is it going to be? April, March or something? 2024, roughly. Let's just put it in there. April, whatever. Might not be April, might be March. But it has never been a bad thing to buy Bitcoin at this point in time. And so the bearish sentiment really shocks me. When you just look at it historically, people are just so consumed by their own opinion and by the tweets and by what people are saying and Crypto Capo being bearish. You know, it's funny. Crypto Capo became one of the most popular people on Twitter recently. And that's actually a bullish sign, because if the most bearish guy is the most popular guy, usually the crowd is wrong. And that's when you know it's time to flip. But guys, look at this chart and really tell me, if you're a bear out there, really tell me, look at this chart and tell me, do you really think it's a bad idea to buy Bitcoin at this point in time before the halving? Because it's never been a bad idea before. You know, people are just very consumed by the bearish ideas. Now, I guess it's not everyone's fault. The news has been pushing all of this recession stuff, so everyone just thought it wasn't possible. But look at this, guys. I mean, this is like one of the most bullish engulfing candles we've had for a Bitcoin bear market, like ever. This monthly candle engulfs 1, 2, 3, 4 previous candles. Pretty good. I can't click out of my drawing tool. There we go. What's up, guys? We've been talking for a bit. Just read in chat real quick. Jahi is saying, draw a vertical line at the previous bottoms. In the days before the halving, we were exactly at the low of the previous lows. I mean, yeah, if you look at the timing of the last lows before the halving, such as right here, that's 19 months from the 2015 low, 2018 low to the next halving, 18 months. This low here, 17 months. 18, 19, 17. The recent low was right in the zone of previous cycle lows in terms of months to halving. So it all makes sense from this perspective, why we would be bouncing here. And once again, it's really not all up to Bitcoin. It's because the stock market is having a macro trend breakout. So that's really the key. We'll see if it continues. Maybe not, but we'll see. I mean, everyone just sees what they want to see, you know? Everyone just sees what they want to see. People say there's nothing bullish happening. Some people are saying, I'm bullish with you in the chat. Just reading chat. But, I mean, you know, when it comes to trend lines, guys, when it comes to trends, it's pretty straightforward. If there's a down trend line and you start closing above it, of course, yeah, it could be a fake out, but I think Bitcoin's headed for 30, at least 28,000, especially if the S&P continues up. We got some zones above us here. You know, a lot of people are eyeing up. Oh, yeah, also another thing. Sorry. The RSI has reset down to this level here, the overbought zone. So we actually had a reset. The RSI on the daily was way overbought, came down, has touched just below overbought territory, and now we're seeing a bounce up. When have we seen this before? Let's go back in time. Something of that style we saw here. This is the beginning of the end of 2020, leading into 2021. Look at this. Come up, overbought, test the overbought zone, 70 level, and bounce, and bounce, and bounce. Right? And we come up, bounce right off the 70 level. So this is what happens commonly when things get really bullish. you kind of just continue up while holding the overbought zone, the 70 level. It's possible, not saying it's guaranteed, but happens a lot. Bounce, bounce, up. And we've been in it for a while now. That actually makes me curious what happened in 2019. Whoops. What did we see in 2019? Oh, I can't, the RSI doesn't go back this far. Let's go to over here. Let's go to the daily and check it out. What happened in 2019? Did we have an overbought rally? Bear with me. 2019, it was a little bit different. Interesting, though, how in 2019 we rally up and we maintain those levels. The RSI cools off, comes almost all the way back to 50, 55, 54, and then we continue up. A little bit different there. But what's happening right now for Bitcoin is much more like end of 2020. So if you want to, you know, that's another thing. That's probably another really good indicator to just sort of get a quick answer of is the momentum being held? Are we continuing to maintain the same level of momentum? Are we bouncing off of the 70 level? Because it can happen, like we've just seen. Hold the 70 level. Once we break below it, that's when you can probably say, okay, this run is over. Now, this is the BLX, so it hasn't updated the chart. But that's another thing. Just look at that 70 level, and if we keep holding that, that could be a pretty good indicator that the run is continuing. If we break below, either Bitcoin's consolidating or the trend is breaking down. So far, we've bounced off of it. Bitcoin right now is, let's see, very close. Previous highs, 23,954. We're at 23,762. We're still bullish on the hourly chart. It's looking pretty good. Guys, let me know in the chat, did you expect Bitcoin to be this bullish? Click 1 for yes and 2 for no. Sean Goddard is saying, what do you think about the perma bears? Like Profit Blue or Capo? I mean, I don't know them personally, so I don't really know anything. I mean, I have nothing against them personally, but the only observation that I made was that they got so popular when Bitcoin was down here, so popular, everyone agreed with them, and the crowd is usually wrong. So if everyone starts agreeing with you, that's usually not a good sign. So they did have some good calls earlier on, but the problem with most perma bulls and perma bears, and I've done this mistake before myself, but the problem is that, you know, you're getting all this attention from your opinion about which way the market's going to go, and you get popular based on that idea, and then you feel like you can't flip, or you just don't flip, right? You just don't flip to the other direction at the right time, and you just maintain your bias forever. And I mean, that's what happens to a lot of analysts. It's not uncommon. It's happened to all of us. Yeah, I do see Doge Gamer saying that this is the denial phase. I do see lots of denial. Everyone desperately wants a dump. People are desperately trying to short Bitcoin right now, and that's what's fueling the pump in a lot of ways. People just need to buy lower. I mean, a lot of the people that are saying that Bitcoin's going to go to new lows would likely buy Bitcoin if it did something like this. Like the next time if we ever get below 20,000 again, a lot of people are going to buy, which is why I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon. It might be something where like we actually run up much higher, 28K, 2830, and then once everyone starts to get bullish again, that's when something happens, you know? That's when we dump. Lots of disbelief. What's up, guys? We got 1,600 viewers. Smash the like button and subscribe to this channel. Yeah, sorry guys. When I go into when I lean like this, I'm away from the mic. But what else is there to talk about? We've talked about a lot already. I've given you guys pretty much exactly what I think about the S&P RSI breakouts. So I think we have a run on our hands. Now, this is interesting because, you know, this drawing is not exactly what I think the future is going to look like. It's just a depiction. But a run up until April or May would go right into the Fed pausing in May. They're likely going to pause in May. So the S&P running to 4,500, matching the same percentage gain as all the other previous RSI breakout levels, could match right up with the Fed pausing right in May, $4,500 S&P, and then we start to see the market turn around as everyone gets bullish again, right? Because it's been pretty inverse. Being a contrarian has been a pretty good move recently. And Bitcoin goes up 30% every time the S&P goes up 12%, so that lands Bitcoin at 30,000. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to hop onto the stream today to give you guys my opinion on what's going on right now. This is the S&P once again, but I was actually in the middle of editing a video and the market started moving, and I said, you know what, it's probably going to be outdated by the time I post this, so I'll just go live. But for now, that's pretty much it, guys. How long have we been streaming for? About 40 minutes. Usually I do a longer stream, but maybe next time. We're going to get off for now. If you guys like this kind of content, smash the like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next stream. Peace out, guys.